Hi, it's Jacqueline or Galactica and welcome back to my channel. What do you think of my Halloween costume? Isn't Haunter here so cute? I don't have a Gengar plush, so Haunter's gonna have to do. Maybe it can be about this Haunter when he evolves. So back in 2016, I wrote this short story and left it in the notes of my phone and always thought that I could do something with it, but I wasn't quite sure what. So I thought how perfect I would do a short story with some illustrations for a Halloween special on my channel just for you guys. It's not scary though, I promise, but if you do want to fright, then head over to my Twitch channel because I'll be playing Phasmophobia later tonight for Halloween. Anyway, I hope you guys have had a spooktacular night. Let me and Haunter know what you dressed up as for Halloween or what you're going to dress up as for Halloween. Because I know I have a lot of international friends on here and it's not Halloween for you guys yet, but we've already been celebrating it here in Australia. Not that we celebrate it all that much, but I really get into it and I really love it. And I hope those of you who came and got a trick or treat bag really enjoy it and enjoy this little short story that I've prepared for you. Anyway, let's get into it.
Once upon a time, there was a Gengar, but he wasn't like his friends. He was afraid of the dark. Every night when his friends went out to play, he would hide up in a tree and wait for the sun to come up so that he could go home and go to sleep like the rest of his type. His friends constantly tried getting him to play with them, but he was always too afraid about what kinds of scary things he might find in the dark. One night, while Gengar was up in his tree, he heard a rustling noise. He was so frightened he almost fell from his branch until he saw a small, fluffy face peering out at him from behind some leaves. Hello? I'm lost. Can you please help me? The little face said. Okay. Do you know where your family is? Replied Gengar. They changed and I don't know where they went. The small creature began to cry. It's okay, Gengar reassured the small creature. I'll help you. Let's start with names. I'm Gengar. Who are you? Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm Eevee, replied the little ball of fluff. Gengar and Eevee hopped out of the tree together. Of course, Gengar was terrified, but he made sure not to show Eevee, as he felt that his new friend needed someone strong to help him. They walked along a path for some time, while Gengar asked Eevee about his family, trying to get an idea of where they could be. As far as he knew, or as far as he understood, Eevee had a big family, but his brothers and sisters had all begun to evolve, and they had moved away to start their own families. Eevee, on the other hand, wasn't ready to evolve yet, but had run off during the night as he used to do when he played hide and seek. But without his brothers and sisters there for him to help anymore, he had lost his way and he couldn't find the path back home. To try and gauge which direction Eevee's home was in, Gengar asked if he remembered anything about the land that might give some clue as to its whereabouts. Yes, Eevee exclaimed. There's a huge rock and I always thought it looked like a Pokeball, but my brothers and sisters thought otherwise, so I guess that's no help really. Well, actually, surprisingly, Gengar knew the exact place that Eevee was talking about, and he began to lead him towards it, when suddenly he heard a noise. Upon hearing the noise, Gengar jumped into the bushes and he hid his hands with his eyes shivering. Are you okay? Eevee said nervously. It was just a hoot, Gengar. You don't have to be scared. Gengar slowly and nervously uncovered his eyes, and he looked up at Eevee, who was staring back down at him and completely calm, which in turn calmed him down. He stroked Eevee on the head, and they went along their way. As they walked, they began to have more and more fun, and Gengar forgot that he was in the dark. They sang songs, told stories, and told each other of their families. Gengar, in comparison to Eevee, had such a small family. He had 2 younger brothers, Haunter and Ghastly. Eevee, on the other hand, had 7 siblings. He listed them off as they walked. There's Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, Espeon, Sylveon, Leafeon, Glaceon. Wow, no wonder Eevee felt so alone and had ended up getting lost, especially because all of that big family weren't there to look out for him anymore. After what felt like forever, eventually they reached the Pokeball Rock and Eevee squealed with glee. He gave Gengar a hug. "Thank you so much!" And he ran home, leaving Gengar all alone in the dark. Gengar nervously looked around and started walking back to his home. It sure was better with Eevee around, he thought to himself. He missed his new friend already, but kept tiptoeing home, jumping at every sound he heard. He stepped on a stick which snapped in half, and his heart jumped into his mouth as he darted into a bush. He stayed there for a good half an hour when he remembered back to Eevee being so calm in the dark and helping him to overcome his fear. "I can do this! I can do this!" Again, he wished Eevee was with him, but he nervously got up and he kept walking. After a while, Gengar could have sworn he saw a shadow out the corner of his eye. "I can do this! I can do this! I can't do this!" He stopped dead in his tracks. He looked around, his heart racing and more alert than he had ever been in his life. He heard a rustling noise, and he felt the prickle of tears entering his eyes as his fear rose. A shadow crossed his path in front of him with a flash of black and yellow. Gengar resorted to his usual fear position on the ground, covering his eyes with his hands and shaking uncontrollably. "I can't do this! I can't do this!" "Gengar?" a familiar voice said. "Eevee?" Gengar peeped out from behind his fingers, but who he saw in front of him was most definitely not Eevee. This thing was black and scary. "Go away!" Gengar cried as he covered his eyes again. "Gengar? Gengar, it's me! Your friendship! I've never had a friend care about me like you have. It made me evolve like my brothers and sisters," Umbreon said excitedly. By this stage, Gengar had uncovered his eyes and was staring at Umbreon with his jaw wide open, frozen to the spot. He was very confused. "Gengar, listen. Because your friendship evolved me at night, I became nocturnal. I turned into an Umbreon. My mother said it was like destiny because I was always running off at night, and I guess this was the reason why," Umbreon explained to Gengar. "Now you won't have to be afraid of the dark because I'll be right there beside you." Gengar was still pretty shocked, but he could sense the smile emerging onto his face. He knew that he needed Umbreon to help with his fear, just as Umbreon had needed him to finally evolve. "You look beautiful, Umbreon. Although a little bit scary. I think I can get used to it," Gengar had said once he found his voice again. The 2 friends shared a hug, and Gengar suggested that Umbreon come meet the rest of his family. So on they went, the ghost type who was afraid of the dark, and the Umbreon who found his purpose through friendship. So that brings us to the end of our little story about the Gengar and the Eevee who turned into an Umbreon. Please let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Also, let me know which illustration was your favorite. I know that this one that I'm painting right now is definitely my favorite. It is so cute. I love how Gengar's little cheek is pushed up against Umbreon and how Umbreon's just hugging him, and it's just so adorable, and there's just so much cute in one photo, okay? Anyway, I'm rambling like I always do. I hope that you guys have had an amazing Halloween. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to support me and my channel. Keep watching because I've also added a little blooper from when I tried to do that transition at the start. I'm not a TikTok star, okay? I don't know how to do it flawlessly yet. Oh, and one more thing, if you'd like to see a bonus illustration that I couldn't fit into this video, please head to my Instagram at galacticat.93.